Back to the Future 3 may not be the strongest movie in the series, but that doesn't mean the actors were any less dedicated when it came to their roles in the Wild Wild West. In his autobiography, Michael J. Fox revealed that he stood on a box for the stunt, but seeing as his whole body was going to be shown, it just didn't look realistic enough, so he offered to do it without the box. After a few attempts, he unfortunately miscalculated the timing necessary to place his hand between his neck and the noose that would have allowed for some breathing room. Thankfully, someone realized that no one is that good of an actor, and he was in fact in serious trouble. Shooting was paused for the day to give Fox a chance to rest, which is really fair enough considering he was nearly accidentally executed.
Whoa, this is heavy.
In Aeon Flux, Charlize Theron plays a super agile assassin that teams up with rebels to overthrow the government. But while the movie didn't break any box office records, its leading lady did manage to break her back. In an interview, Theron said she had been doing back handsprings. The f is back handsprings? And slipped during the maneuver, causing all of her weight to land on her neck, which herniated a disc between two of her vertebrae and put more pressure on her spinal cord than is probably ideal. Credit to Theron though. After taking the time to heal, she came back and got on with all the stunts that were required for the movie at the same time as having 5 hours of physiotherapy a day. It's a shame she put so much of herself into that role, especially since the movie tanked at the box office. But she became Furiosa some years later, so all's well that ends well.
Yeah, well, I got lucky.
Of course someone almost died making Die Another Day. It's literally in the name of the film. And I was so proud of myself when I saw it.
Hovercraft shootouts, racing Jaguars over ice, Madonna. But who knew that the real danger in this mediocre Bond film was the humble Fig? But to Halle Berry, it's a reminder of the time she almost choked while filming.
Pierce Brosnan's account of the near-death experience is half harrowing, and sorry Halle, it's half hilarious because of the Alan Partridge way in which he describes it. So I've picked out the choice cuts, and I'm going to narrate it to you in my best Alan Partridge voice.
Anyway, in this one scene, we're in the sack together, and we're going for the take. She has this piece of fruit, and she gives me some, and then puts it in her own mouth. I made a joke, and she started laughing, and then she gagged. And suddenly, there was no sound coming out. She was on the bed, gagging and waving her arms, and I was banging her on the back. I was about to put my arms around her and start doing the Heimlich, but the both of us were kind of naked. And then she somehow expelled the fruit, which was a good thing because I had never given anyone the Heimlich before, and I was certainly in no position to give it to Halle at that moment.
That is just not textbook sexual intercourse. And while I'm glad that there was no lasting damage, I do have a few questions. Number 1, what was the joke? Number 2, just what was the room full of production people doing while Halle Berry was choking? Number 3, why a fig out of everything? A fig? And number 4, just how naked are we talking?
Apocalypse Now is considered one of the greatest movies of all time, but it was also one of the most insane when it came to its production. Martin Sheen played the role of Captain Willard and described the set of the movie as chaos. What Sheen meant by this was the project went way over budget, and the whole set became a ruin of mud and madness after director Francis Ford Coppola ignored weather warnings about incoming monsoons. Sheen got extremely drunk shooting the scene where his character has a violent mental breakdown, breaking a mirror and damaging his hand, and all the while the film crew were too terrified to approach him. After shooting this scene, Sheen had a heart attack and was later found crawling through the jungle looking for help. His condition was actually subject to a media blackout, with Coppola saying even if he dies, he's not dead until I say so. And you thought your boss was a
Jackie Chan must hold some sort of record for actor with the most number of injuries in the history of cinema. His fight scenes and stunts are some of the greatest, and the crazy son of a gun does them all himself. So, brace yourselves for a supercut of Jackie Chan's brushes with death.